Okay. Hello, guys. Welcome to Get Going Fast. Beginning of the week, we are once again on location over here at Ma and Pa's house. Had some family members passing away, so we are once again on the road, but forever and always in your hearts. And so we're here with you. I'm here with you. Don't worry, you're not alone. So we are going to look at the new day now. My setup is a little bit constrained. I'm using a different camera too. I haven't used this camera in a while. I might use the other one's so high definition. It shows every aged wrinkle and underslept night in my face. This one fuzzes it out a little bit. Maybe maybe going backwards is the way to go. But at any rate, all of that aside, we are going to go quickly through here. I know it's been kind of a crazy couple weeks. It's been a lot of travel on my side, so haven't been really able to connect with the stuff. But there's a lot going on. Appreciate your guys' patience. We'll try to get into there as always. You know what? I rely on you guys to really kind of be my eyes and ears in some of this stuff. So whereas, oh, what are we doing over here? I lost you. How did I lose you? There we go. So if there's stuff out here that I'm not getting my eyes on because I'm not watching it every day, different models, different apps, let me know. Send me a note. We'll look through it and we will get it going together, which would be a really cool thing to do. So let's check over here, make sure that we're streaming. Going to now. I'm using an AnyDesk software. I don't know if you guys have heard of AnyDesk or not, but it's actually really. We'll look through it and we'll there we go. Going together, which would be good. So, really good software to build the remote desktoping and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, well, let's get on with this. I think we'll try to keep this one a little bit short. I do have access to my computer, but like I said, she's just a little bit limited. So, Mike looks like Mike K has dropped in. Mike, what's up? Mike is one of our Blue Star members. So, yo, hats off to you, Mike. Good to see you, brother. Appreciate you going around. Mike's actually been paying quite attention to the community lately. Noticed he's been liking a bunch of stuff on the page and commenting. So I appreciate you, brother. And with that, let's pop on over to scene two. Roar. Okay, so again, this is now on my computer back there. Let's do this. Really quickly, let's pop over to here. Let's see how many people are watching. It says I can't even see three. Oh, we've only got three so far. All right, and Mike is easing the number one spot there, okay, because he's the only one doing that. But let's get on with the thing. As usual, if you have any questions, hey, yo, let me know what you're thinking. I'm gonna have to pop back and forth, so I might not see it in absolute real time, but we'll go. Okay, looking at last week, I wanted to start. I know we already talked a bit about this, the S2V. I just want to point out again that this is garbage. The clouds roll in, I crave banana. My heart is rage, my feet are cold. Once a month I break the mold. Yeah, so that's crap. Okay, so I just thought that that's such garbage that I might as well just point it out. Okay, so AI brews, of course, we're doing round trip. We're screwed up here. We've already talked about all our Quinn 3 control net. I don't know if we mentioned this last one, but this was the last of the three-parter. Oh no, this is part two. This is not. Forget what I just said. Let's start here. AI music writer signed a record label. So this is actually really sort of a big thing. Anyone who has spent any time at all in the AI realm understands how visceral there is, like how seriously hate filled people can get towards AI and towards people using AI to help create. As I got into the music creation and AI, a little bit on the earlier side, I can tell you from firsthand, I've been working with people that actually like my music. I write all of my own lyrics and everything, and then I look at it like a producer. Like I go out and you find musicians to play your music for you, the stuff that you wrote. And that's how I use this. But I can tell you, I had people that would not touch it with a 10-foot pole. Okay, like they would say, like, well, maybe we could do some stuff, but you need to erase AI from your social media at all. There not even needs to be a hint of it. Well, this is a huge step here. What's taking place here? So, what was the name of the band here? You guys may have heard of this. It was something. I feel like the name of the band has something to do with like banana or something like that. Um, Where's the name of the band? Any rate, the bottom line is this guy came up with a band, got up to 3 million views, really huge, okay? And people loved it. And then they found out it was AI. And then they're like, "Oh my God, we've been." we, it was like suddenly they discovered you'd been feeding them rattlesnake meat or something. I would say probably the most deranged comment that I saw on here was someone had said that they should label AI music just like they label GMO foods. So like just like you label genetically modified foods, you should label AI music because if you listen to AI music, it might change your genetic genome, just like AI food, just like genetic food. So people really have a oh here it's called the Velvet Sundown. There it is. So people have a real not based in real world kind of fear of AI. Okay, but anyway, the point is, this guy just signed with a major record label. Yo, so this is the first AI musician to get. He's going to make a ton of money off of this, and this actually sparks the beginning of an era. So you're going to see more and more of this. Pretty much, this is how it works, right? Everybody can have their morals and be like, "Oh yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't." And then one person comes out and says, "You know what? Actually, I'll do it." And I'll make a lot of money. And everyone's like, well, but I, and they're like, yeah, you. And then they're ching, ching, ching. And finally be like, well, you know what? We actually, I kind of want to get on some of that money. Okay, we'll let in an AI artist. So you're going to start, you're going to start seeing more and more of this. This guy has broke the ceiling, which actually is hopeful for us aspiring artists as well. I know a lot of you guys out there are making your own music, doing stuff. I do my gym. I've been doing Gym Day and the Better Stories as my band for years, and I just recently started producing stuff. Using AI software to help it again. Like the songs are written, but it's like going out and hiring musicians. But this is good news for you because maybe you can make it now. The more it gets accepted, the more it can go, the more possible it is for us. All right, so that's cool news. Meta AI changing the child safety policies. This is just classic. Meta's revising how its AI chatbots interact with users after a series of reports expose troubling behavior, including interactions with minors. The company told TechCrunch it's now taking its bots not to engage with teenagers on topics like self-harm, suicide, or eating disorders, and to avoid romantic banter. They're temporary steps while it develops longer-term rules. So this is obviously always an interesting quagmire because none of us want bots that are like, oh, I can't talk about that. Well, that would be inappropriate. So, I was creating some images for some friends the other day with their D&D players or their role playing characters, and there was one guy and he slashes through a robot's arm, and Chat GPT and wanted to create the image was like, I can't do that. It goes beyond my ethical policies, and I literally laughed. I go, ha ha ha. It's a robot arm, and it's like, you're correct, it's a robot arm. And then it self-reflects, right? I guess I was triggered by the violence of the thing, and therefore, but of course we can. So nobody likes that. But at the same time, it's a very real thing. You're going to have things like Facebook and Twitter and this that kids are allowed. As long as kids are allowed in the public space, the general public space, then it's always going to be a question of if it's kid friendly or not. Okay, I suppose that battle happened years ago too. I mean, I'm old enough to remember culture war battles from the 80s and 90s too, where people were saying we need to keep a safe safe space for kids, and then the argument, is well, kids are this or that. You just change the rubric of what's appropriate for kids, right? The stuff that I mean, guaranteed, the stuff that is now considered appropriate for kids, back in the '90s, or in the '80s, '90s, even the 2000s, totally not appropriate for kids. So what they do is there's two ways. So one, you change the rubric, right? So you say, okay, well, actually, no, these things that were typically adult things, yeah, that's okay. They're not adult things. They're family friendly things now. Okay. Or you go the other way and it just gets more censored, and or you actually start defining different spaces in the public. And honestly, that's going to be the route I would say. Old enough to remember when there was a big push from the cultural, I would say the culturally liberal kind of side of things, of saying, like, you really can't have any special spaces. Everything has to be, you can't have guy only spaces or girl only spaces or age only this. It all has to be, this, which really I think is just a way of saying you can't keep us out. But whatever, that's politics. I think probably we have to go back to that, of redefining and remembering that there are different groups of people in the world, and they congregate in different manners. And yes, it's like, I can go, as an older man, I can go to a bar where you can smoke a cigar and you can drink whiskey and you can flirt with whatever you want, but it's not an appropriate place for a kid. Women can have spaces where they go and they talk about their feelings, or they do whatever. I don't know, I'm not a woman, whatever women do, and they can say, like, yeah, we don't want guys to be in here, and it doesn't mean that we disrespecting each other as groups, but we're just realizing, because there's still public spaces. But I think probably where this is going to go is we have to go back to allowing private spaces. Places like Facebook will become censored because it's a child place. So you're not going to go to Meta to dirty flirt with your AI, because it's a place where kids can get into it as well. So anyway, interesting stuff happening. The culture wars there, or the whatever's there. I'm sure it would be nice if that didn't pop up like that. Okay. Um, okay. Here was the Quinn 3 final control net. Let's pop over here and see what we got going on here. Mike is still okay. If you guys are out there, come say hi. But okay. So here's the Quinn 3 control net, which this is my favorite of the control nets, of all of them, because you can use these pose things. That thing in the middle is a pose, and the way it's programmed is each one of these dots represents something, like that's like the eye, and the nose and the shoulders, and you can actually, with a good editing software, you can actually edit these things, and it will save it in the JSON file. So you could move that hand up here and do this, and then you get the exact pose of what you want. This, to me, is the ultimate control net. We talked about depth and pose maps. Depth is like a shadow, right? So you get the shadow of it, but you don't get the necessarily what inside of that. Canny is like depth, but even more, a little bit more detailed. You almost get the same thing, but it leaves out some details. But then pose here, you actually do whatever you want. You're just creating the way. So to me, I love pose stuff. Okay. Then up here, I went ahead. Here's another pose. You can see that, and then there's. I was supposed to be Luke Skywalker. I looks more like Anakin, but whatever. So he's doing his thing. Now, I created this is a quick and dirty little workflow. If you want to use your pose editor, basically load this up into Comfy UI. You can load up an image. It will create the pose for you, and then there's actually an editor that you can then modify it. Now, the thing that makes this quick and dirty is that once you've created the pose, or moved it around to where you want it, it doesn't just go automatically back into the workflow. So you do have to download it onto your computer and then re-upload it as the pose. But quick and dirty, you get in there, any image, it will create the pose. Go in there, change it, move the arms, save it to your desktop or wherever, and then re-up it, and then you can use that pose. Okay, so this is the Tech Bros share optimistic view of the future with the president. Dang it, I didn't want I didn't mean to click that again. Hold on just 1 second. Every time I do that, it messes up the screen when I try to return. So I'm going to do it like this instead. We'll right click it and go back to here. Okay, so the tech bros share optimistic view of the future with the president. Multiple big tech leaders, including some who opposed President Donald Trump in recent years, joined the president for a White House dinner on Thursday and praised them for his pro-business, pro-innovation actions. Apple CEO, okay, and that's big. I mean, Apple is a fairly liberal, Democrat kind of led party, but Tim Cook and OpenAI, I mean, all these guys, they're all San Francisco tech giants, right? Sam Altman both thanked Trump at the presidential dinner that was also attended by Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, Google CEO Sundar Pichai, and Chairman Arvind Krishna, as well as Safra Katz. Now, remember, a lot of these people were called together a few years ago to testify in front of Congress about manipulating their algorithms to lessen conservative points of views and to promote other things. Remember, they got in big trouble, like with things like the Hunter Biden laptop. Whatever you think about that, I'm just saying that those are things that happened. They did lessen the impact of that, and then they did promote the impact of false information, like the RussiaGate type of stuff. So this is kind of a big thing. You got these people that at one point it could be the argument could be made that they were open enemies of the current president, but now they're sitting here with him, and they say Altman, the head of OpenAI, also praised Trump, saying thank you for being such a pro-business. Okay, it's a very refreshing change. We're very excited to see what you're going to make out of all the companies and our entire country so successful. The investments that's happening here, the ability to get the power of the industry back, I think that's going to set us up for a long period of great success leading the world. And I don't think that would be happening without your leadership. So that's high praise. And then Altman said that he believes the expansion of the AI industry in the United States will transform the world in a profound way. And I agree. Whatever you think of the current administration, they have completely invested in AI and bringing it into the country, making us a powerhouse. And of course, the tech people are going to like that because that's their world. It would be a very interesting future that we're heading into. All right, let's go up here. We had our open conversation. Okay, I did update the system checker. This is one of these things, guys. If you are people that want to get in, send them over to get this. This is so easy to get. All you have to do is just go to checker.getgoingfast.pro. This is free. People are like, hey, that AI is cool, man. Like, I'd like to get into it, but I don't know. Da 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 da. Send them over to get the automated system check, okay? It's free and it will run and tell them what they have installed and what they don't. And I've just updated it so it's actually even easier to read. On older machines, like especially like Windows 10's machines, it was running a lot of what's called a WMIC error. It was like WMIC error, and it was highly confusing. Well, that's just because it's not installed with Windows 10. We removed that so that that error does not. Well, I don't know if it was error, but that messaging doesn't show up. So we cleaned it up. Should be a little bit faster, and at the end, it actually will tell you what you need to do, what you're missing. So send your buddies to this. This will help them a lot. Okay, this is pretty cool, and this is. I think this will be the end of what I've been working on. Oh, I guess we got one more after that, but let's actually go do one last news thing here, and then we'll end up with this first frame to last. So this is interesting. I saw this today. Switzerland launches Apertus, an open source AI model trained on public data. So, true to its tradition of neutrality and independence, Switzerland is moving closer to securing its own sovereign AI. And that's a very interesting term. Now, obviously, it's not sovereign over itself, it's going to be the nation sovereign. So, it's a Swiss version of the AI. Now I'm going to come back to this, okay? Wary, and this is important, wary of reliance on America and Chinese startups for access to cutting edge AI, because this is actually really where the battle is taking place with AI right now. Like China is doing huge inroads with AI, and so is America. China is doing incredible stuff with the development and the creation of stuff, and America is just tripling, quadrupling, quadrupling down on infrastructure right now. So, um, and then you got places like Switzerland is over here going, you know what? We need to get on the game, but we're not so certain we want to be completely enthralled with having to make a choice between American and Chinese stuff. To me, the choice would be quite obvious, but I am going to come back to I'm going to come back to being in agreement with this article because there's a very significant point that's going to be made. But that, anyways, it goes on. That includes the AI's models that run on data centers inside a country's borders. Okay, so look at these keywords. We're talking sovereign, we're talking country. Okay, Switzerland. A group of Swiss universities teamed up to develop Apprentice. A large multilingual model was trained excessively on public data. Okay, the Apprentice is roughly comparable to Meta's last gen Llama 3 model, trained on 15 trillion tokens. Good lord. Um, Including Swiss, German, and Romansh. I guess I didn't know that. Okay, so you can read more about this. Oh, wait, actually, this is interesting. Having a free model that was built domestically with full transparency will help domestic businesses that use the model to comply with the strict data protection and intellectual property laws in Europe. Okay, this is actually brilliant. This is actually really good. Now, this took it a different route. I'm going to go back to my original point that I wanted to make here. We're talking about neutrality, independence, sovereignty, all this kind of stuff. Uh, this is good. At the beginning, what we want is Elon Musk pointed this out years ago, is that we need to have a competition of AI. We need to have bunches of models, okay? Because otherwise, if you have one or two overarching models, then what happens is that that model has the power to dominate everyone, and we've seen that. If there was one media, which come on, hey, there's really only one media, but they have the ability to alter reality and force thought coercion, and so it has the ability to dominate. So we've always needed we need a marketplace of competition. So what Switzerland here is doing is they're starting a Swiss AI so that you have other options. And I think this is, as I posted over here, this is the beginning of AI nationalism. Okay, so I predicted this years ago, just in my fever brain mind, that we would reach a point where every business, every country, everything would have an AI face to it, and we've already kind of seen that with, like, Alexa, and we've got Google, whatever, and this and that you have personalities, but the you're going to see this more and more. You're going to have the German, you're going to interface with the German people and government through an AI, and the Swiss, and then and the Vietnamese, and the Lebanese, and the whatever, the French, and all this kind of stuff, and they're all going to have different AIs that all have their different personalities, and they will probably build into that again, that sense of nationalism, like this is our AI. Okay, and that's not a bad thing. That's the way the world wins. The world actually does pretty good when we have nations that have self-identity and are. I don't know if I want to use the word competing on the market, but it's like having a football league and you got a bunch of teams. Okay, and that's how it's always been. So, and I think that we're going that way. We're moving back that way, particularly with the AIs. It's a good thing. We don't need one big global thing that just destroys. Now, that destroys culture and assimilates. But now, interesting here, cool. This is kind of cool too. A free model that will build domestically with full transparency will help domestic businesses that use models to comply with the strict data protection and intellectual property laws. So this is again brilliant because right now, I can say in America, a lot of stuff's coming out of America and it's clashing with the EU. I'm not an EU fan. Okay, I'm not a fan of, and someone might be like, "Oh, you're not a fan of this, that." No, I'm not a fan of the way that they do things, and yes, some of the values they have, I do believe, are antithetical to traditional American values. And so, Regardless, think what you want. I can think what I want. Over here, what we see is that American businesses build stuff, and then the EU or places like this then say you have to change this to adapt to our laws, and we can hold American companies. I don't know if the word's hostage, but we can hold them in a matter of tension to force them to comply with European I don't even say European, EU law, because there are other nations that are not part of the EU that are European, but they don't have I wouldn't say the EU doesn't have a lockdown on the term European. But the point is, they can say our EU values you have to establish in with your American businesses. Well, of course, that becomes a security issue because, well, American businesses typically are built along American values or for American purposes. So, by Switzerland starting this process of creating their own model, absolutely, then make a model that comports with your values to do with your own internal thing, and then this now gives businesses the ability to say, we can build our programs now using Switzerland's AI or the EU's AI, which is actually designed to do this. And then we can just keep you back. Say, don't worry about our American stuff anymore because there's no longer a monopoly on just one AI that you suddenly feel like you have to or just put your fingers into because that's the way that you think is that you have to control everything. Well, go control this other one. Build this one. It's built for control. And now businesses can use that. So that's a good thing. That's the good side of nationalism. If you don't like the way that they interact with the businesses in one country, you can go to another. So huge. This is really kind of an interesting article, which is why I wrote "and thus it begins." Okay, let's end up here. I want to show you this one. I'm not going to be able to actually show you the app, but I will. Again, this is I've already created the model manager here, so just throw it outside your Comfy UI. You can install. Essentially, how this works is you take a beginning image and you take an end image, and it will create everything in between. So this is a cool video I did for. Whoops, dang it! Hold on. Cool video I did for a buddy. So the start image is this. End image was this. Okay, and you throw it in there, and this actually only took like a minute and a half maybe, and it creates everything in between that. I think that's incredible. Now I've got a bunch of these, and I'm going to be releasing them so you can see more of them. But this, I can tell you, I have never really been that excited about movie making with AI. I know there's a lot of guys out there that make movie, and I'm always like highly impressed. But I've got such a spazzy brain that my attention span for trimming and doing this isn't there. But this is the first app that I've seen that I'm saying, hey, I could actually picture doing this. You get 10 photos that describe your movie, and then you do the clip from 1 to 2, you do from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and so on. You can string it together. Incredible app. This is in Wan2GP by Deep Beep Meep. Okay, and so you can use it there as well. But like I said, we already have the model manager down here with Comfy UI. Very cool app, and I would suggest you guys play around with this. So, okay, I think that is pretty much where we're done. As I mentioned, I am on location here. So I do got to get going. We got family stuff going on. I appreciate your prayers for the family. My truck, like, man, I tell you, I drive this old truck. She's old as the hills, right? But she got a good engine. But the brake light came on last night while I was going through the mountains. I'm like, so I gotta go take care of that too. I do see 9 popped in. 9 is another blue star. So 9, this one's for you. There it is, right there. So good to have you, even if it's a bit late. I don't think we hit that many viewers today, but there's a few of you watching, so hi to all of you. This is your last chance if you want to get on the scoreboard. I think, yep, Mike and 9 are the only ones on the scoreboard today, so if you want to get in there. Oh, let me mention really quickly a couple things before we go. Let me get back over here. Okay. Oh, okay. Couple things. We were talking about that I was going to start streaming through Patreon. I'm still going to do that, but I decided to hold off of that until I'm back home. So then we can deal with the technical issues a little bit easier. Hey, there's Peep Durple. Peep Durple just jammed in. Good to see you, Peep. I think this is Peep's first time. So happy to see you, Peep. We're going to give you a shake and a bunch of 100s and some of this stuff for you. Yay. Yes, that's for Peep. Good to have you, man. Welcome. Jams popped in right under the thing. He says, I'm late. Hello. No problem. I'm going to be honest. I didn't really. I kind of spaced out the live streaming because I left Idaho at like 2 o'clock. I arrived in Oregon like 2 in the morning. Oh, or like one. I guess like 1 in the morning. So late night, but we made it. Okay, so anyway, so we'll try to do the Patreon next week. The Patreon streaming. We're moving our streaming. But here's the big thing, guys. Here, watch this. I'm gonna make myself bigger here so you can, like, guys. Here, here, watch 3D live streaming. Whoa. Okay. Anyway, so we're starting a new thing that I'm gonna try to do every week. Still figuring out the details, but there's going to be competition. Okay, and the competition is we give you something to create. Come over and create it. All right, and see if you win. So like right now, what we've been doing, the competition is an image. It can be text to video, image to video, whatever you want. Okay, you have to figure it out of someone grabbing money in their hands and throwing it in the air or something like that. Okay, and the thing is to get them cascading down. So that's your goal. See if you can make a video where someone throws up some money or some cards or something like that and they come down. The rules are you can use whatever you want. You can even use Sora or, paid stuff, but you have to label what you used. And it'd be good if you could label how long it took, but you have to at least label what you did. Right now we're just doing a basic intro to this, but I'm thinking here of throwing some win points into this. Maybe we do one of these every couple weeks, and the winner, if we get enough people in, the winner gets an hour of my time. Hey, I'll help you with one of your projects, right? So that'll be like the what you get for winning. So go over to the Discord, join in. You can ask about it. It's over in the video generation tab. Peep Derp. Okay, so Peep Derpel is over here saying that his 3060 is going to melt. Peep, you'll be surprised. Run One 2GP. You could do this with a 3060. You could do it. You could do it. Check out One 2GP, and you can get there. By the way, we'll go back over to here. Just go to one2gp.getgoingfast.pro. Okay? If you're a member, you get it for free. Just download it and it'll install for you. And this is made for people with lesser VRAM. So, anyways, I just want to encourage you. You can do it. All right. Anyway, that's going to be it. So, if you guys want to get in, spread the words, get people coming into the thing. We'll have competitions, and when we get enough people, I'll actually start giving some rewards. Okay. So, all right. With that in mind, I want to appreciate you guys. Let's run and see where we end up with the wacky races. Some of you dropped in right at the last second. Oh, Peep says he's actually already using OneTGP. Is it melting your computer? So we'll get you going. We'll see what we can do with you. But anyway, let's pop it really quickly over here. We'll see where we ended up with the old wacky races. Let's go, and I'm gonna go 3. I'm giving this 3-second countdown to get in. 3, 2. This is your last chance to step on the gas. 1. And we're heading over for the final results right now. Okay. So, oh God, how does that even happen? Peep pops in and takes the number 1 spot. My goodness. So I wouldn't have seen it coming. I wouldn't have seen it coming. You guys were like going around, spinning around, doing jumps, and Peep popped right in. Mike got pushed out right in. Mike was there the whole time long. I'll tell you that's why you it's slow and steady that wins the race, right? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. But Mike ends up with number two. Jams jumps in with three, and nine ends up with a solid number four. So the races are done. What a race it was! Always entertaining, always something. Anyway, there we are. You guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll be back in. I should be back. The plan is to be back home on Thursday, so should be around for a Friday live stream. Have your questions and answers. If I don't have questions, I'm not gonna do much. So we'll just pop in and pop out. But if you got something you want to work on, bring it up. We'll literally work on it together. Think of it as like a free tech time. So all right, with that, we're gonna say goodbye. You guys have a good one.